upgrades.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again for another movie review, and I'm very unlikely film that I thought that I would never even try to watch. I ended up watching Renfield. This is starring Nicholas Hoult, the amazing Nicolas Cage. You've got Ben Schwartz, and you've got Awkwafina as well. I have here good friend Jedi Mike. We're about to go and dissect this interesting movie in a non-spoiler format. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't worry, you're not going to get spoiled. We're going to talk about the good and the bad. So here we go. What's going on, Mike?
Going good. How you doing?
I'm here, man. I initially was not thrilled about going and checking this film out. I was kind of reluctant to check it out, and I was like, the only thing that kind of had me is I was like, Nicolas Cage. We know Nicolas Cage is the man, regardless of what role he's in, no matter how crazy it is, he's gonna do it up. Like, he's the man, right? Just taking this image alone, you got to see where this is going, right? And so I kind of was like, okay, is this gonna be semi-bad? Is this gonna be so bad that I might like it? Unbeknownst to me, it was actually pretty good. And I cannot, oh my God. I cannot believe it. I really cannot. But we're going to break down the why that is. And that's not to say this is the greatest movie in the world. It's not the greatest, even vampire story. Matter of fact, this is actually taken from Clive Barker's original Dracula concept. The very early shots in the movie take elements from that, and then they take you for what the relationship is, which is Nicholas Hoult's Renfield, and of course Dracula, who is Nick Cage. And you get to see this very toxic relationship and what it looks like in present day time. And they're taking elements from what happened in the past, but they're spinning it in a way of showing, codependency, toxic relationships, as well as like trying to strive to combat something that you caused. And I think the thing about that is, like, there are moments in this movie that I'm very surprised that they took a sympathetic approach. I don't know if you agree, Mike, but I was kind of like caught off guard. Certain moments I was like, wow, that's a real moment. I can apply it to a relationship I got right now or a relationship that I knew in the past that was not good for me. So them even attempting to do something like this in a movie like this, I was surprised by. Were you caught off guard by any of the performances or some of the moments that were kind of straightforwardly sympathetic and understanding?
Yeah, like with you, I had no expectation with this film. I really didn't I really liked the trailer. I really thought the trailer was very entertaining. Well, this might be a good popcorn film to watch, on Netflix or on your couch, whatever. But I had the privilege of seeing this in the theater, and I had to say I didn't come out going saying, "Oh man, I had a miserable time." This is actually a simple movie, but again, a movie like what you said, talk about a toxic relationship and almost a template of a toxic relationship used with comedic timing and everything, that in any different scenario you could put in, it might have the same impact, but in a way they put it in the most unnatural and what should I say, supernatural scenario to actually communicate this storyline of a toxic relationship with a narcissist or someone who's actually gaslighting someone who's the actual victim, or and actually someone coming in their own and breaking away from that relationship. What that does not only have the effect, the consequences of himself, but the people he's around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, for sure. But nah, yes. I mean, to Mike's point, like this wasn't something that I didn't think it was gonna be that good. And so going into it, I actually went in blind. I never even saw the trailer. And
oh really?
so the highlight of this film is the action, the practical makeup work, and the practical effects. It is very entertaining. Mortal Kombat level of gore and violence. This is a very heavy rated R film to the point that I was like, this is nuts. Like, even the last Mortal Kombat movie didn't have some of the gory fatalities that this movie had.
And
And
probably with less budget.
right. And I'm kind of just like, what is happening right now? But I'm thoroughly entertained. Like this is the second movie this year that's thrown me off. And I think Cocaine Bear was the first one. And now this one. And I was like, I never like even if I had watched the trailer for this, I probably wouldn't have been sold by it. Same thing for Cocaine Bear. I was like, I don't know why I'm watching this, but I was entertained just like I was with this one. But the highlight for this one was definitely the gore, the violence, and also, like, to be honest, Nicholas Hoult pulled off a lot of the stunt work. Like, he did a really good job with a lot of his stunts in terms of like when they were going on. They did a really good job of keeping the focus in on him. Like I mean, we've seen him play Beast before, so we know he's not new to doing action, but it's just interesting watching him just wash people. It is so entertainingly thrilling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say this with Nicholas Hoult. I think he's very familiar within this category. There was another film called Warm Bodies that he did
Oh yeah,
several years ago, which I got the same feel of this. So I feel like he was still in the same element, playing like a character, also in in a relationship, but in the very supernatural scenarios and everything. And I feel like again, and so with a lot of comedy and him playing, I don't know what the heck's going on and stuff, and getting out of these situations in the most hysterical way as possible. But no, I thought that's me when I saw this. I remember Warm Bodies, and I really enjoy Warm Bodies. So when I'm seeing this, I put that in the same vein as this and had a good time. So I will say another highlight of this was not only obviously with Nick Cage and his performance, so especially the practical effects of just terms of his costume design and everything, not only his abilities and everything, but also like his personality is a way because of how he's dressed and how he looks in a way makes his performance more compelling. And I just really gotta give to people the costume designer making especially makeup in this film as well.
yeah. The early stages of kind of how Dracula looks are very daunting and fascinating. Like I love those moments. I kind of there were certain moments I was kind of like I wish they would kind of lean more into that. But I got to talk about some of the things that are negatives, just for the sake of it. Like it's off-putting the way that he just looks like this. How do I say this? Hollywood
Parody.
Halloween parody version of Dracula. Like it's so off-putting. It looks so cheesy.
Ridiculous. Yes. Yeah.
And there are moments in the movie. If I take the character that Aquafina is playing, very early in the movie, it just kind of came off very cringy. Like she was do like certain mannerisms and stuff, and I was kind of like, I was kind of getting taken out of it, and I was like, no, realize what you're watching, because eventually her character actually progresses into something very fascinating that I didn't think they would go. And I don't know if it was more like a tonal thing, like they kind of like they didn't know what kind of way they wanted her character to go, but at a certain point she kind of hit her niche, and I was like, okay, she is a straightforward cop that's trying to find retribution in a corrupt situation. And once you kind of get that realization of her as a character, it starts to work. But early in the movie, it really kind of didn't. I was like, it was so off-putting that by the time that she did interact with Nicholas Hoult, I think they vibed off each other very well. Not just that, he's a great actor. Anybody that he's around, he compliments, much like something like Nicolas Cage would do. Any person that he's around, he compliments. And so I think that he added more to her character than she did. And by the end of the movie, I kind of was like, okay, I really liked her as a character as well. Another nitpick for me was some moments just were just so silly
Yeah.
that I just felt like they were unnecessary. Some silly moments really could have been left off. The weird thing is the silliest character worked, which was Ben Schwartz's character. Ben Schwartz, he he is the opposite of Renfield, and at the same time, exactly the same. And you'll get the gist of what I mean by that a little bit later on. But I loved his performance in this. I actually loved his character. It added a really good balance to Renfield as a character. And if you don't know who Ben Schwartz is, he's also the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. My last nitpick is I have no real understanding of how Renfield gets his powers. They don't clearly define what what or how. At a certain point, you just kind of just like accept it, but it doesn't remove the entertainment of the film. But did you have any nitpicks you want to kind of go through?
I'm glad you said that because much as like I said, I take away disbelief in this film and everything like that. There are some inconsistency, like one, the origin of it. We talked about that in the beginning of the film. I felt like there was no explanation of like how Renfield became immortal or a servant to Dracula, other than just like, oh, okay, he's just in this situation now where he's trapped. I'm like, okay, and then go to the abilities, which that's the main thing. Really, in the cat, if you saw the trailer, that kind of caught you, like with this dude, like the superhero, but it's just eating bugs and everything like that, like how that works. And then that aside from just just being Dracula, so that's kind of really the only thing. I don't know who this Renfield character is. I don't know if any lore to his character at all, like in horror and anything like that. I don't know. So I'm thinking, oh, there's some side character that nobody talk about, like the Igor to Frankenstein or something like that. I don't know. Like that's like and there really was kind of no explanation. Again, Aquafina really took me out of the movie sometimes. It really just terms of like, how can I put this? There's like only like two like films recently I've seen that where it's like I see these characters have no way of interacting with each other, and I might even say to a point I didn't really see any chemistry with them. Like I know you probably think like Nicholas Hoult, who's an amazing actor, can do so much, but I felt like okay, we're just gonna pick two random actors that have no chance of ever being in the same like room or anywhere together. And I'm like, well, we can put in this situation. It's just like with that film with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy. Um, what's the name? With Nipsey Hussle's wife.
You
You
people.
people. Yeah, I think yeah, you people, and you have a Jewish man and a black woman married together, and there's like the chemistry is nowhere there. To me, I saw this, I'm like, I don't really see that much chemistry. Just like, oh, they just get along with each other because plot. That's and also with her, I think she was also trying to figure out like, what am I supposed to do? Supposed to be awkward in the police situation, be like a
Right.
straight man, but a Asian female police officer, and in the situation, like I guess it was a lot of things I was kind of feel like even then her own character was kind of confused in terms of what she wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of that, again, in the very early parts of the movie, like it just didn't work. But I think it evened out once you understood the layout of everything around her. But yeah, I think the thing that was the most interesting, I think, was and I know they don't have all names, but the group that he saw, his his group that were dealing with PTSD or dealing with
Yes,
domestic violence, like
therapy,
that group.
group
Not
therapy.
only were they functional and funny at times, but they, in so many ways, allowed the story to progress. Like their importance is one of the most important things in this, to make this a whole movie. Because otherwise, it would just be you watching Nicholas Hoult doing action superhero stuff and Nicolas Cage being amazing as Nicolas Cage. But they kind of were the connective tissue that rounded everything out. And I think that if they weren't in it, it would be a completely different movie. Like it changed the vibe because they allowed the movie to slow down to recognize what was really happening, and they gave real stakes as well. But yeah. I mean, outside of that,
Yeah.
this is a very straightforward movie. We kind of just broke this down because we're critics, and we want you guys to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I personally will say, if you want to go and check out something this weekend and you want to be entertained, and you want to see some Mortal Kombat level of gore, some amazing Nick Cage isms, and see some interesting superhero moments with a little bit of emotional levity, I think that Renfield will be right up your alley. For me, I'd rest Renfield at a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. Like I would actually go and watch this again, or take wifey out on a date night to see it just for entertainment. So, what about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'll give it probably like a 7 out of 10, like 7 even, or odd number. But like the point is, with this film, again, like that, to me, I think the group therapy, that was the best part of the film, and actually was the heart of the film. Really was the story. Was like, yes, if you ever been to therapy or counseling or anything like that, you see those situations again, people helping each other, but also really I felt giving good advice that added to the character or protagonist of the film, Nicholas Hoult, Renfield, to actually, progressing in the story. And again, I thought their chemistry, I thought was really effective. And again, the trailers, that was like the best part in these situations until Nicholas Hoult showed up and interact in that environment and everything. I just really thought they just did a good job. And I'll give this a 7 out of 10. And I'll probably see it again, at home. But yeah, I might probably go watch Mario again.
So I am gonna give you guys a drop surprise. I didn't even tell Mike about this. It's just very ironic. Put myself on the screen. So check this out, you guys. So I've got here Warm Bodies. This is the steel book, ironically. And I've had this for a while, but this is the 4K version, and it has a digital copy. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to flash the actual digital code. So the quickest person to get the code, you're gonna get it. If you enter in the code right now and it's days later and you're wondering why it ain't working, it's because the person that watched the video first got to it first. So I'm gonna give a 3, 2, 1, and then I'm gonna put the code on the screen so you guys can be able to check it out and hopefully enjoy Warm Bodies if you've never seen it in digital copy. This is just a thank you for guys watching this review, and I appreciate your time. All right, 3, 2, 1. There it is. Wait, is it blurry?
Focus.
Hey, there it goes. And Mike, you can't take it.
No, I already got the movie.
Wait, is it flipped? Hold on. Can y'all?
It is like, but I think people, how YouTube.
Hey,
yeah.
Got it. All right, you guys. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. And we appreciate y'all. Yes. We're gonna go because we got some other stuff we got to do. But hopefully you make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. And where can everybody find your content, Mike?
You can find me on YouTube at JediMike7. We're right over here. Doing movie reviews. I'm doing trailer breakdowns and also live streams talking about world of movies and everything. And I'll be soon eventually try to be doing interviews and stuff and have those opportunities. But yeah, make sure you go subscribe to this channel. And more content will be coming soon.
Yes, sir. We out, people. Bye. Peace.
Filing out the top of the I can see the skyline. 50 mile radius on my timeline.